Hello everybody, my name is Jakub Jazga and this is a channel about how to manage effectively process of delivery, product change, and it is about good leadership. I invite you to the next episode of Inspire Me Jakub. Nobody likes pain. Pain is something really unpleasant. Some people even think that pain is something bad. But try to imagine such a situation that you put your hand on a hot stove, but the pain comes only after a month. A very unpleasant situation could be postponed. Such a burn, it's not nice. Are you sure it's what would you want? I don't think so. The truth is, you wouldn't remove your hand from the stove right away without the pain. You would react to this bad situation only after some time. It would cause serious and permanent damage of the tissue. And the postponed pain, after all, would be much stronger in the end. I often tell my customers that Scrum, Kanban or any Agile is most of all a nervous system. The moment something bad happens, it should let us feel the pain. It should burn us, hurt us, and not let us ignore it. Without pain, we are not able to react quickly. But the reality has no mercy. Lack of quick reaction to problems will cost us more and more. Problems hardly ever work themselves out. Scrum is an empirical approach. The most significant pain we should feel in it is the one connected with technical issues and business value. We reach it through finishing each sprint with an increment, which is done. In my humble opinion, it is the most important aspect of the whole Scrum. However, as practice shows, increment can be done on one of the 6 levels. The first level is called almost done. In fact, it is not even the first level. It is the 0 level. Almost done is, for an instance, it is done, but we must only test it, or it is done, but we must only integrate it. Something that has shocked me recently is when I heard from my customer that at the end of the sprint, their work items are done with defects. What does it mean in practice? Almost done means a very dangerous situation. Transparency practically does not exist. Even if some indicators tell us about the progress of work, it is nothing but reading the tea leaves. The moment they feel that they are close to an end, an extra unplanned work always comes their way, always. Almost for sure, regression will come. I've seen it many times, that at the very end, the work doesn't want to sew up. And the only thing that can be done is to start the product all over again. It's sad, but the reality is cruel. Additionally, with almost done approach and ongoing verification whether what we are doing will bring business value is just impossible. Whether we are doing the right thing is unknown. Programmer ready means that we have a version of software which lacks nothing from a technical perspective. However, instead of ready functionalities giving evident, tangible business value, we create a task of a technical nature. There is no doubt we have a working software that we can go back to if some disaster happens in next sprint. We also reduce a probability that regression explodes in the last expected moment. Moreover, there is an obvious improvement when it comes to transparency. What is the progress of work? These are tremendous advantages. The problem is the fact that when developers focus on a given architectural layer, they lose sight of the application as a whole. There is a risk that something will not be done properly and it will have to be corrected, or we will produce something that will not be used in the future. This cost is sometimes very high. However, the biggest danger is that we completely lose a business point of view. We have no confirmation that the product is being developed in the right direction. We rely on the requirements that were specified long time ago. We are very sure to create something that doesn't meet the needs of the users and business goals of stakeholders. Many times I have come across a situation that having that approach, that the application which was developed was technically flawless. However, it had no business value. Product owner ready. It means work items are 100% done and they represent functionality from the user perspective. For instance, user stories might be used here, but product increment has been feedbacked only by the product owner. Stakeholders hasn't provided their feedback at all. It is a huge improvement compared to programmer-ready. Developers have a business goal in front of them. They also see functionality as part of whole. Their work becomes more effective. Less unnecessary code will be written. There is also less rework. That's very good. And there has been a product inspection carried out in terms of delivered value. That's why the chances that it is being, let's say, developed in the right direction are much bigger. Anyway, there is a huge risk that the product owner did not step into the stakeholders and users' shoes. As a consequence, the stakeholders and users may get something that they have imagined quite differently, and it may turn out that they are dissatisfied with the results. The next step is stakeholder ready. This is where the real Scrum starts. In this case, apart from the product owner, also stakeholders review the product. On the basis of their feedback, the subsequent increments are created. As a consequence, the developers see that their work makes sense and it brings value to someone. However, what is most important, that is, was verified whether the product fulfills stakeholders' vision. It is clear whether it is going their way. We significantly increase the chances that the subsequent product increments will accurately reflect the needs of the stakeholders. Additionally, taking part in the process of making software, the stakeholders take partially responsibility for it and they know exactly what is going on in the product. My experience tells me that in case of problems, they are much more understanding and willing to help. One might think it is a perfect solution. However, it has one serious disadvantage. Stakeholders cannot think as the end users of the application, of course, and get inside their needs. For instance, if the user is not satisfied with the application, he will stop using it and will never get back to it. The stakeholders who have strong emotions connected with the application will be much more understanding and forgiving. User ready is the next level of done. The application is inspected not only by the stakeholders but also by selected users. They provide their feedback from their own point of view. For example, a few end users are invited to the sprint review and they give their feedback. They are also regularly asked to test functionalities during a sprint. Apart from that, they should verify whether particular features meet their needs. Market ready. It means application is released to the market. It can be just beta or MVP for selected users, as long as our product is not accepted by the target market. We live in the zone of assumptions. Only after our product is tested by real users, not only selected, we receive a real feedback. Even if this experience is quite painful, it allows us to fully let go of the illusion. The sooner it happens, the better. However, there is one but. Good first impression can be made only once, so you should not release something that spoils this first impression. What's important, we can also launch the product only in part of the market. For instance, once I worked for a customer that was developing an application for players of American football. Before we launched it in the demanding markets of USA and West Europe, we released the beta version in Brazil. We soon learned how the application is perceived and what we can do before launching it in the most important markets. That's all for today. If you like it, hit the subscribe button and give the thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions or conclusions, I encourage you to comment down below. Scrum on!